For the past 2 years, I've been waking up at 5 a.m. every single day, Monday to Friday. And the past 2 years for me have been very transformational, and I've learned a lot. And a lot of those things I can actually attribute directly back to me just waking up at an ungodly hour. Now, is this for everyone? No, that's not what I'm saying. But I do think if you're someone who has big ambitions and big goals, and you really want to get down and do the dirty work, I do think either waking up at an extremely early hour or going to bed at an extremely late hour gives you an advantage that you can't get from just having a quote-unquote normal routine where you get up at, say, 7, 8 in the morning and just kind of clog out at a normal hour. And so in this video, I want to break down the 5 things that I've learned from waking up at 5 a.m. over the past 2 years and give you some insights into what you actually realize waking up at such an early hour. Now, if you are someone who wants to realize your full potential and you actually want to get down and do the dirty work and you want to become the best version of yourself, I'm going to leave a link down below in the description and also in the comment section with a link to my free community. In that community, I'll give you free access to a 5-hour course. You'll get free access to me as well, so I can give you personal coaching. You'll get worksheets. You'll get literally everything you need to become the best version of yourself. And if you do end up enjoying the video, please hit the like button and subscribe to the channel. That would massively help me out, and I appreciate that a lot. Now, with that being said though, let's get straight into it. So the first thing I realized actually fairly quickly going into this was just how much mental clarity and peace of mind you actually have from just waking up when no one else is awake. The thing I never really took into consideration before this was how much time people actually rob you of and how much time and attention you have to give to other people when you're trying to run a business or, you're employed in a company or whatever, because people constantly have questions for you. They want to chat to you. They want to go on a meeting. They just want something from you and they want your attention. And when you're awake at 5 in the morning, when no one else is awake, you just have the mental clarity and peace of mind to just focus on what's actually important. And so you can wake up, no distractions. You can just focus on what you want to focus on, the big things in your life. Either that could be, fitness, it could be your business, whatever it is. You don't have to think about anything else in the world besides that's one task that's ahead of you that you have to get done, because no one is pinging your email. You don't have a meeting you need to prep for coming up. You don't need to think about are these clients or this colleague or whatever, are they getting their job done? Because no one else is at work. It's only you. And so this leads me into my second thing, which is you actually get more shit done waking up at an ungodly hour. And this is why I also said either you wake up extremely early or you go to bed extremely late, because having that time period where no one else is awake just allows you to focus on the big things. And so for me, for example, when I was waking up at 5 in the morning was either I would script YouTube videos, ads, sales copy, something big that I actually would push my business forward, or I would go to the gym, for example. If I had a long run or something, I would do that in the morning because I could get it done. I could come home, shower, get ready for work when everyone else then was awake. And then I sort of eliminated one big task of my day, and I could do that without having to stress about anything else. I could simply, with good peace of mind, just go out and run or go out and go to the gym, for example. And I didn't have to stress about this or that. And when you have these big time blocks where it's literally just you and you can focus on whatever you want to focus on, you become so much more productive. You can put your phone away. You can just close your email, close Slack, WhatsApp, whatever communication platforms you use to talk to people or whatever. And you just know for the next 4 hours, I'm going to be completely alone, completely isolated, and I can just focus on this one big thing. Now, if you're someone right now that's waking up at, 7, 8, 9 in the morning and you're thinking oh, this is too crazy, I could never do that. Point number 3, I realized around 2 weeks in, is that it's actually way less challenging than you think. You just kind of have to re-engineer it. And so instead of thinking, oh, it's so early in the morning, I'm going to be tired. I could never wake up at 4, 5, 6 in the morning, whatever it is, because I can't fall asleep that early, whatever. If you just reverse engineer it and say, okay, well, we all have the same 24 hours in the day. We can all get the same shit done, right? Out of those 24 hours, I need, let's say, 8 hours sleep. Well, if I want to wake up at 5, well, I should probably be asleep by 9. And that's the same thing I did. I said, okay, I need 8 hours sleep. That's the minimum for me. And so if I want to wake up at 5, I need to be asleep by 8. Therefore, I'm going to turn off my lights and I'm going to be in bed with closed eyes at 8:30 in the evening. That then allows me, a 30-minute buffer for me to just toss and turn and think and try and fall asleep basically. And that made sure that I would get at least 8 hours of quality sleep every single night. I wake up feeling refreshed. And if you do that for 2 weeks, you'll be into the routine, and it's actually not that difficult. It takes your body a little bit to adjust and you'll be tired for the first few days, but Like if you have one day where you sleep 4 hours, I guarantee you the next day you're gonna want to go to bed at an earlier time. And so if you're someone right now that goes to bed at midnight, for example, and you want to change that and you want to wake up at 5, therefore go to bed or be asleep by 9, well, if you just go to bed at midnight and then force yourself to wake up at 5 a.m., I promise you after that one day, if you're someone who needs a lot of sleep and you struggle, if you don't get a lot of sleep, you're going to want to go to bed at 8 or 9 in the evening, the next evening. Boom, magically, you're into the routine. Now your body just needs to kind of get adjusted to that schedule. And after a week or two, like I promise you, you'll be 100% into that new routine. And it will feel weird to you going to bed at a later hour. And you'll naturally just be tired around 7, 8, 9 in the evening. Now, thing number 4 that I realized is that evenings are actually quite a waste of time. And this was the main reason why I actually did this for such a long time, is because if you look at it, for most people, their evenings are just not productive at all. And when I'm awake, I like to be productive. I don't like to just sit around watching Netflix, especially not during the week, Monday to Friday. And personally, I cannot work at 10 in the evening. Like I'm not going to get any creative output and I'm not going to start on some big new task. That's something that I have the mental capacity to do at 5 in the morning, but I don't have it at 10 in the evening. And I think most people, if they were actually honest with themselves, they are not like that either. They're not going to start on some new, hard, mentally challenging task at 9, 10, 11 in the evening. They're going to be watching Netflix and they're just going to be chilling, which is completely fine. But I don't think the amount of Netflix that people are watching, spending 3, 4, 5 hours in the evening just watching things, I don't think that's productive at all. So for me, for example, I would be in bed by 8 to 8:30 and I would allow myself around a 30 to 60 minute window to just kind of watch TV or watch YouTube or whatever, to kind of just mentally recharge and just get away from work a little bit so I could have a clear mind going into bed. But if I were to push my bedtime to 12 in the evening, that period of time, those 4 or 5 hours, I wouldn't have been productive. So you need to figure out for yourself, like, when am I most organized? When do I have the most brain capacity? Like, when am I most creative? And then you either strategize around one of those, like wake up early or go to bed late. But I do think for around 80-90% of you, it would probably be better to just wake up early, have that peace of mind, and then in the morning when you're fully recharged from sleeping, then you can start on some new big hard task, spend 4 hours before anyone else is up and awake, and now your day starts and you're practically ahead of everyone else. And if you had to do that hard task, from 9, that same task, instead of taking 4 hours, will probably take you 6, 7, or 8 hours because everyone else trying to rob you of your time. So you can't actually sit there and be dedicated and focused to that one thing. And so I just realized for myself, like, hey, if I'm going to go to bed later, I'm actually not going to be productive. I'm just going to be watching Netflix. And so for me, it makes more sense to just wake up earlier, eliminate some of that TV time, and just have better quality work too. So it's basically killing 2 birds with 1 stone. Now, the 5th and final thing is that you realize how destructive people are to themselves, and you become very self-aware and you realize how self-destructive you've probably been to yourself. Now, around a year ago, I was living in Dubai and I had a lot of friends there that had their own businesses and they were working on themselves. They wanted to become better, not only professionally, but also personally. And so obviously a lot of these people, they talk a big game because they want to achieve great things. But what I realized very quickly is that people talk big games, but they don't actually do a whole lot. And so when I was waking up at 5 and I was meeting them at the gym, for example, I would talk to them like, hey, how are you doing, blah, blah, blah. And they'll be like, yeah, like I'm really like grinding, going to the gym. And I would see on the Instagram, like, oh, these people are going to the gym and like they're doing good. But then I would talk to them a little bit more like, oh, like how often are you going to the gym and how's everything going? And they'll be like, yeah, like this week I was in the gym 3 times, but today I'm a little bit tired because I was out last night with some friends and we have some cocktails and I was in bed late and then I woke up at like 10 in the morning. And it's like they don't even really realize how unproductive they've actually been. But when you eliminate that option for yourself and you take that freedom essentially away from yourself, saying I cannot be out until midnight on a random Wednesday because I need to wake up at 5 because I need to work on myself, I need to work on business, whatever it is, you very quickly realize how weird some of this behavior actually is. It's like brainwashing. These people don't even realize how destructive they are to themselves. And now you start relating it back to yourself and you're like, oh shit, I actually used to be that person where I would just randomly, go out, or I would meet up someone for coffee and it wasn't actually that productive. And you very quickly see for yourself and become self-aware around your own destructive behavior because you're starving yourself of those options. And so now it seems like a very, very big contrast when other people are out and, living their life or whatever they're doing, partying until 3, 4, 5 in the morning. And when they're coming home from the club, you're waking up and you're going on a run or something. Suddenly it becomes very, very hard to relate to. And that whole contrast was a very big insight for me, at least, in just realizing how little effort most people are actually putting in and how much people are actually brainwashing themselves into believing that what they're doing is a lot, when in reality, it's not that much at all. And so for me now, I'm not waking up at 5 a.m. anymore, but I still have that self-awareness to where I can sort of look at the chessboard and look at where I'm at and see, like, how am I doing? Am I just wasting away watching Netflix? Am I just being unproductive? Because I can relate it back to the times when I was waking up at 5 a.m. and when I was super locked in. And so I have that contrast that I can look back at. And I think if you just committed yourself to doing this for 3, 6, or 12 months, and you actually committed to just waking up super early and just work on yourself, work on your goals, you would very quickly realize what you're doing right now probably isn't a lot, and you could actually be doing much more just by moving some things around. It's not even like that much. You just wake up at an earlier time and suddenly you need to adjust your whole schedule to that. And that one routine change can actually give you a ton of insights into how you're currently living your life. And I think personally for myself, those insights that I've learned over the past 2 years, waking up at 5 in the morning and just really being locked in, I can always use that as a compass and relate it to my current life just to see sort of how am I doing? Am I still dialed in? Like, am I still doing enough, or am I kind of slacking off? Because the reality is just, if you're awake at a late time and if you're someone who's used to going to bed at midnight or 1 or 2 in the morning or whatever, you will have more temptation and you will have more offers in social aspects, in certain aspects of life. But if you eliminate all those temptations, you will very quickly realize that it's actually not very productive for you, and it's probably just a waste of time. And so that pretty much sums up today's video, guys. I hope you got some insights from it. Again, if you're someone who wants to be the best version of yourself and you want to build a better physique, you want to become more disciplined, you want to become a more competent person, hit the link down below. It'll take you to my school community. It's completely free to join. And if you like this video, remember to hit the thumbs up button and subscribe to the channel. That would massively help me out. And I'll see you in the next video, guys.